Alright, the first 11 videos were pretty thorough in relation to what the Universal Router Guide is capable of doing. I think the step-throughs for the blanket box and the step-through for the little table, these processes I'm going to show you now are just a few more things that are going to help you out in the classroom. If you're going to purchase a Universal Router Guide, you want it to be value for money, and I've always thought the more that it can do, you know, the better chance I'm going to get sales. So if I look at this model here, that's pretty complex. It looks pretty complex. Again, if we just put it in the Universal Router Guide, put a scrap piece of timber between the timber and the jaws and offset it so that this here becomes the center. You've got your two stops that you route it to. So it's a process of routing the four outside ones first and then turning it around and routing the other four. And I don't know what I'd use that for. I actually have never used it with a student, but that's pretty complex. You're getting into CNC gear, and the extension cutters route it halfway through. It's actually not a difficult process. So the second thing that I've had a lot of students do is to make these 2mm. It's like a 2mm shadow panel, and this is done on the inverted router table. That's not done on the Universal Router Guide, just cutting the rebate or cutting the rebate with a rebating cutter. It's the groove that's done on the on the Universal Router Guide. So this is an interesting one in relation to, I suppose it's a little bit similar to that. It's a bit of 70 by 70. We've set it up in the guide, we've set up the stops, we've plunged the router halfway through, and we've machined that up 4 times. The guide's that accurate that a piece of timber will fit through and you glue it off so you form like a solid inlay all the way through the piece of timber, and then that's the finished process. If the students wanted to make a coffee table with 4 legs, it's got that really unique sort of solid profile through it. I've also got a little rolling pin, exactly the same process. There's a piece of timber that's got the solid inlay through it. These breadboard ends, so if you don't understand what a breadboard end is, that's not done on the Universal Router Guide. That is, but I don't think I'd like to be dropping that on an inverted router table, not knowing where I'm starting and where I'm stopping. Students do it. If you don't like the idea of a 19 or 12mm bit of timber, like the sliding tenon, there's a process where I've used a 26mm cutter and a 12mm cutter and machined that up on the Universal Router Guide, and the rail meshes, fits in, more surface area for gluing. I've had students that have made dining room tables with that joint. Very similar to my end-grain chopping boards with that dovetail that's run through it. Talk about justification, like we did in the HSC video. That is never coming apart. That is solid as. This is a little project I make with Year 9. It's a little bit of a design and technology project, I suppose. Bit of faceplate turning, bit of between centre turning. They've got to work out the distance that the cups have got to be apart, but that's the bit of timber gets put in the Universal Router Guide. Student set up stops and machine all the way through. So a piece of timber will go through like so, and they make that little coffee tree mug.